let me introduce all of our guests, panelists. So first up, we have Lily Z. King, the COO of Kobo, Rita Liu, the CEO of RD Technologies, Devin Singh, Alternative Chief Executive of ZA Bank, Ciara Sun, the founder and managing partner at C2 Ventures, and Giorgio Valaco, the co-founder of Acceler Network. And the moderator for our panel today is our very own Enrique Centerio, the Senior Research Manager at Hashkey Capital. 下面呢，我们有请我们本次 panel 的嘉宾以及主持人。我们的主持人呢是来自我们 Hashkey Capital 的资深研究经理 Enrique Centerio。我们的嘉宾呢有 Lily Z King Kobo 的首席运营官 ，Rita Liu RT Technologies 的首席执行官 ，Devin Singh ZA Bank 的替任行政总裁 ，Ciara Sun C2 Ventures 的创始人兼管理合伙人，以及Giorgio Valacos Acceler Network 的联合创始人。请大家掌声有请 ，Please give us a round of applause for our guests today.
All right, excited to start this conversation about Web3 infrastructure. We have a great guest today, and I'll give them a minute to each one introduce themselves. But why is Web3 infrastructure so important? Well, at the moment, the crypto market cap is at $2.7 trillion, and only 1.5 years ago was probably 1/3 of this size. So we do need a huge infrastructure to accommodate trillions of dollars worth of assets. And we have new assets coming on board, right? We have real-world assets, DeepIn, and many other exciting things because Web3 is not only about financial services, it's way more than that. And that's what we are going to discuss today. So let's start with some introductions. And Lily, let's start with you. Feel free to talk about yourself, about Kobo, and also brag a bit about you.
Hi everyone, I'm Lily from Kobo. We are a crypto custodian and a technology solution provider. We started to building this space since 2017, and actually this year we are celebrating our 5th anniversary in Hong Kong.
Rita?
Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Rita, CEO of RD Technologies. We're launching a stablecoin in Hong Kong under the Hong Kong's framework, and in the meantime, we also have a digital wallet for fiat, servicing Web3 businesses to get into to bridge Web 2 and 3. Thanks.
Hi, hi guys. This is Devin from CA. CA Bank is actually like one of the 8 virtual bank in Hong Kong, and right now CA should be the largest one in Hong Kong. And we have mainly 2 line of business, like retail business and like commercial business. And we actually support a lot of the Web3 ecosystem players like VATPs, like Stablecoin. We just talk about right now. And we are looking forward to collaborate more with the market to provide more fundamental service for them in order for them to grow in Hong Kong.
Hi everyone, I'm Ciara Sun, founder and managing partner of C-Square Ventures. We are a early stage Web3 investment firm aimed to help early stage projects with our operational expertise and capital raised from reputable investors, including Google, ecosystems like Polygon, and market makers like GSR. Prior to fund C-Square Ventures, I was vice president of Huobi, heads up listing, investment, global markets, and institution business. Very glad to be here. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Giorgos Vlachos, co-founder of Acceler. Acceler is the first decentralized interoperability platform on the market. Our vision is to connect all blockchains and make it easy for users to abstract away the blockchain and enjoy seamless user experiences like in Web 2. Our platform is very widely used. We're used by some of the leaders in Web 3 like Uniswap, Lido, DYDX. And also doing a lot of work on the real-world asset side and financial institutions. Excited to be here and meet you all.
Awesome, super exciting. Lily, let's start with you. Can you bring us up to speed on where we are at in terms of Web3 infrastructure, and what do we need to bring additional adoption and mass adoption, both for institutions and retail?
I think Web3 is defined as next generation internet owned by users and builders. So in substance, the core value of the Web3 internet is for the builders and the users to own a piece of the decentralized network. So the distribution of native tokens or the blockchain applications is actually the major method for such application to attract users, gain tractions, as well as form communities. So the Web3 infrastructure has to protect and empower such distribution as well as users' seamless interaction with blockchain applications. And such infrastructure will need to guarantee both the security as well as user experience. So I think in order to understand what should be done to advance the adoption, I think we should at least look at three elements: users, technologies, and applications. So at user side, we see the number of Web3 users already surpassing 500 million this year. And more important than the number itself, the type of users already evolved from programmers, natives, to retail users, TradFis, and even big financial institutions. And at the technology side, blockchain space is always emerged with new emergent technologies. So from Bitcoin in 2009 to the introduction of smart contract on Ethereum in 2015 to alternative smart contract-based blockchains, we see more and more layer 1, layer 2 application-specific blockchains as well as modular blockchains with roll-ups. So this multi-chain, multi-layer world will inevitably give rise to assets, users, applications, fragmentation. And application side, if you only look at Ethereum itself, the dApps working on Ethereum is already 4,000 dApps. So the concept of Web3 is already going very mainstream. So I think so looking at the nature and the demand of the growing users, technologies, and applications, the core to advance the adoption would be to create infrastructures that can provide a perfect balance of security, privacy, usability, and interoperability.
Totally makes sense. And Ciara, what's your views? Lily just talked about these thousands and thousands of dApps that are live across different layer 1 and layer 2 chains. What's your views on the current infrastructure, and what do we need to advance to get more adoption in the Web3 space?
Right, very good question. So a few aspects, right? So in terms of scalability, I think that's still, the main thing that a lot of the builders out there are trying to achieve. And we're seeing that either it's OP or ZK rollups on Ethereum layer 2, it's getting a lot of traction. So the total TVL on Ethereum layer 2 is already like 22.8, about 23 billion dollars. That indicates a lot of movement and strong demand for the layer 2s for scalability. And then I agree with Lily's point on interoperability as well. And we're very excited for our portfolio company. Layer 0 is going to go live pretty soon in the next 2 months or so. It's like when we see the whole DeFi TVL is 100 billion, and on Ethereum itself, it's 56%. So we definitely see a lot of demand and a higher market for interoperability, multi-chain, and cross-chain functions in the near future. And also modular applications and design. So that's why we're seeing like the DEA layer is so hot right now, and we're definitely seeing this movement from just single blockchain based to modular right now. And then back to the point about applications, we think the next real bull run with user adoption is going to be happening with real adoptions and mass adoptions on the users layer. So projects like gaming and social, so that can naturally onboard large scale of users is going to be like a focus for investors like us to pay attention on.
Awesome, that's super interesting. And Georgios, considering what Ciara just talked about interoperability and the importance of interoperability, what's your views on the importance of interoperability and how XLR is contributing to the space?
Great points, and I completely agree with the other panelists. There's going to be a lot of applications, right? And my view is that those applications will mostly reside on different chains in the future. And the reason is simple. If we look at any single blockchain today, whether it's a layer 1, a layer 2, a layer 3, all blockchains process transactions sequentially, right? And because of that, there's fundamental limitations into how many transactions every single execution environment can process, right? So if we want to be able to support the demand of any single real-world application on a single blockchain, we will need to scale horizontally across many different blockchains, right? And if there's thousands of important applications, that implies there's going to be thousands of different blockchains out there. Now, in a world with thousands of different blockchains, you can imagine that people will have to move between one and another very, very often, right? And my personal estimate is that very soon, 1 in 4 transactions, 25% of all transactions in the space, are going to be cross-chain, right? And I think this is also supported by data today. If you look at how people use applications on a single layer 1, typically you're going to do a swap on Uniswap, go get a loan on Compound, then you're going to buy some NFT. Right? People move between applications very often, and we cannot be expected to tell users to bridge, change wallets, change networks, and do 4 or 5 different steps to use a new application. Right? We have to abstract away any complexity in between, and interoperability technology is essential in this future.
Yeah, totally. The interoperability to allow users to have a seamless experience, right? Because we nowadays, without interoperability solutions, we still need to do 5 or 10 transactions until we can bridge an asset from one chain to the other, right? It's pretty complex sometimes. Divan, just a quick question. Are banks already looking at interoperability, or are you more concerned with other Web3 infrastructure issues at the moment?
Like from the bank's agenda, like I think we are more from the TradFi stuff, to be honest. So when you guys talk about a lot of the interoperabilities, about different apps, about different infrastructures, like the banks, from the banking perspective, we are more on supporting the ecosystem growing. So in this case, we are not talking about like some techie stuff, but in general, we're talking about how can we bridge the Web3 world to the Web2, to be honest. So in our agenda, we are talking more how we can like supporting the bloom of the company, to setting up bank account for them, to make them like land in Hong Kong to start a business. This is more our fundamental role. And so I do think like from the banks in Hong Kong perspective, we are more like embracing the Web3 agenda. Regardless, it's more something about the licensed entity, some entities about some infrastructure, about some like reg tags, about GameFi, SocialFi, whatever kind of this kind of new domain. I think the banking segment is still in a more exploration stage to see, oh, what actually are they doing? And then if they know that what they are doing, they will try to bank with them. This is more critical from the banking agenda.
Awesome, thank you. And ZA Bank is a great partner of the event, of Hashkey, and you guys are really, one of the trailblazers in Hong Kong in terms of Web3 adoption. Can you tell us a bit more? How can retail users and institutions capitalize on the opportunities that you see in Hong Kong or APAC?
Yeah, like we do think like in Hong Kong, the Web3 agenda was actually moving fast in the past like 12 to 18 months. And with like VATP, stablecoins, and we talk about like custodian right now, and also about the OTC. So we know like the regulators is actually moving fast in this regime. So as a bank, for the first segment, we have to support the license or going to be licensed entity. So that's what CA was doing, like has been doing over the past 12 months. And from the coming days, what I envision is about how we can like make it more adoption. like how the mass market, because in our banks, we have more than 750,000 customers, how we can let them know, embrace, like touch on the Web3 agenda, like crypto trading. So maybe one thing we are thinking about is how can we provide like some very good customer experience service for our retail customer for crypto trading. That's one thing. And also from the business institution agenda, we have to think about like how can we help like our government invest Hong Kong to attract more and more companies from overseas, China, to come back to Hong Kong to start their new ventures. This is very critical. Like last year, we talked about a lot of the crypto exchanges, but right now, we do think it's a very comprehensive regime, like OTCs are coming, like custodians are coming, and we know a lot of banks are thinking about whether we want to do custodian business, because the circulars from MA is here. So we do think like more and more regulated stuff are coming, and this actually echo to the previous panel is really important for the mass adoption for the market, because the early adopters, of course, they know what it is. But right now, we are talking about high net worth customers, about TradFi customers. They would have to know, like, how can I adopt or get into the Web3 agenda in terms of investment, in terms of like virtual asset, whatever kind it is. So this is a good way that when the licensing regime is pushing forward, we do think that the mass adoption should be coming fast.
Super cool. And talking about mass adoption, Rita, for you as a wallet provider and a stablecoin also developer, I think you are also very well positioned to talk about mass adoption and
Thanks,
what
Henry.
you guys are doing.
Yeah, so our foundational theory is Web2 and Web3, the two worlds will be parallel for foreseeable future. And so to make the two worlds talk to each other and interact with each other and enable the users and money flow freely between the two worlds is very important, so that we can make the cake bigger. As you know, Devin mentioned, right? Many Web2 companies, Web2 institutions are standing on the fence. They want to gain, but they don't know how. So to connect the two worlds is very important. And one very important factor here is compliance and regulatory clarity, right? So with more regulatory clarity, more Web2 companies will come in. So in terms of stablecoin, so use stablecoin as an example. I always talk about, we look at the current market cap, 150 billion US dollar. Wow, so big. But actually compared to any traditional traditional financial market, it's relatively small. No matter if it's FX market, payment market, traditional asset market, it's still very small. Why? Because lots of Web2 volume is not in. So that's why we are building a compliant stablecoin under the framework in Hong Kong, aiming to bring more Web2 money or Web2 flow into the space. Otherwise, we will end up, with a very strong infrastructure in Web3, but not enough volume and users to run in it. So I think on that we share with what Devin was mentioning, that bridging the two worlds is very important, and that's all we are doing here at RD. Yeah.
Yeah, Rita, that's great. And considering the developments over the last few years in terms of DeFi regulations, you just talk about regulations and all the new sectors that we see in Web3. How do you see what are the key components in the infrastructure space that you think are more important and that institutions need to pay attention to? Rita.
Sorry, what was the question?
So the question was, you just talk about the developments and the regulations.
Yeah.
So considering the developments over the last few years, we see banks experimenting with DeFi, some really interesting stuff happening. What do you think are the key components, infrastructure components, that we need to pay attention to?
Oh, yes. It's pretty much what Hong Kong is pushing forward on all the aspects they're pushing forward, right? Custody, wallet provider, right? So that's super important, what Kobo is doing. Banking infrastructure, what Devin, what ZA is working on. And, different chains, right? Like we've seen all kinds of different layer ones, layer two coming into Hong Kong, developing business here, aiming to provide, better infrastructure for Web2 companies to understand the space, right? To get into the space and more easily onboard to the space. So I think on all of these aspects, Hong Kong, in terms of regulatory clarity, Hong Kong is pushing forward quite fast. Stablecoin, custody, exchange, OTC, broker dealers, all kinds of different stuff. So I think it's pretty much what Hong Kong is pushing forward on. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Devon, from bank perspective, how are you adapting to all these changes that Rita just talked about?
Like as mentioned, like we know the regulatory standpoint is moving fast. So in this case, from the banks, we are actually moving alongside with the regulations. So we mentioned VATPs, whatever this stuff it is. So I would say like the next step for banks, we would be more focusing on would be on the tokenization agenda of RWA, because like we want to see it like even though for trading, we don't want to just saying to our customers say, hey, we just like BTC and ETH again. It actually can be a lot of different kind of asset class. And that asset class is providing more accessibilities for our retail customers or new asset class for them to invest, to broaden their invest horizon. And so this is one of the critical points that we would think is coming. And the other agenda, we would say, even though for the banks' agenda, we will explore more collaboration with the industry players to see how the banks can do more like Web3 agenda, but not only providing some fiat service. So in the banks, many banks we know that are exploring custodian of the VA as well. So this is something that is brand new to the market, because to the bank's agenda, they will always say, hey, I do custodian of fiat. It's what I'm doing right now for day by day, but like for the VA, it's total new regime. But we see a huge opportunity from there in order to provide better customer experience or business opportunity there.
Great, great. And Sierra, we both work in venture capital. What kind of projects are you looking at C-Squared Ventures that you think that will develop the Web3 user experience, and how are you investing in this space to bring forward better user experience and better adoption?
So we have a agnostic investment strategy and thesis. So we pretty much look at every vertical sector in the space. But I mean, like generally speaking, how we select teams that we want to back. A few things, right? And so like track record, team background, it's always about the people, especially when you invest in early, they can always pivot. But you know, once they have a very strong team, no matter what they pivot into, they have a higher chance of being successful. And of course, the product demand and market demand needs to be there. And given this cycle, we think the ability for monetization is very important. Whether you can have a very healthy business model and can manage your treasury very healthily, it's very important as well. And I guess in terms of what applications they are building, it doesn't really matter. There are going to be, you know, as many different kinds of applications as there are, or even more in Web2. So we're here just to provide all of the token side of the expertise that we accumulated in the past 6 years or so, and then giving back to the team and support them to scale.
Got it, got it. So that's kind of similar approach to Hashkey Capital. We kind of sector agnostic. What we invest is we invest in people, right? And yeah, Georgios, talking about investing in people, you are of course investing a lot in user experience. Can you tell us a bit more? What's the stage of like the interoperability sector? To be honest, I've wrote a report about interoperability like 1.5 years ago, and it's totally outdated because this space, the technology development is super fast. Can you update us in terms of the interoperability technology and what's the current status of the space?
Yeah, happy to. So I'd say from the point of view of interoperability, when it comes to the infrastructure layer, I think we're almost there. We have enough infrastructure, right? Today, there's many different platforms in the space that allow you to pass messages across different chains, right? The most prominent ones being ourselves at Axelar, Wormhole, and Layer 0 as well, right? And it's very easy if you want to build a cross-chain application, you want to have an instance of your application on Avalanche, on Solana, on Ethereum, those instances can communicate and you can build true cross-chain applications, right? So the infrastructure is there. What I'm most excited about, that's the next step, is seeing people, strong builders who are building on the application layer, like Economy, Anoma, who are working on chain abstraction, account abstraction, and all the wallets as well, integrating this infrastructure to provide seamless user experience to the end user, right? So just to summarize my thinking, I think the solution to cross-chain is not bridging. It's applications and wallets and everyone on the application layer natively integrating cross-chain messaging into their applications so that users never have to bridge, right? So to me, the end state of user experience is similar to Web2, where you go on your phone, you will have a wallet with a list of all your assets. As a user, you won't know whether your asset lives on Solana, on Avalanche, or whether an application you're using lives on a rollup with Celestia as DA, right? You will have your assets, you will go to an application, say, I want to open a position with some USDC, or I want to buy an NFT. And you will never have to switch wallets, you will never have to pick a chain, right? And that's what we need to import billions of users to the space.
So a totally abstracted experience where the user, just like when we send an email, we don't need to think about SMTP or IMAP or...
Exactly, exactly. So right now, I think the next layer we have to build, if we make an analogy to the internet, is something like HTTP, SMTP. And I think we're in a good place. A lot of people worry in Web3 that, we've been around for 15 years, but we still have to worry about lower level things. But if you remember the history of the internet, it was the same, right, for more than 20 years. So I think we're very close, and we're going to see a Cambrian explosion of consumer applications very, very soon.
Yeah, actually, I totally agree that, Henrik, that if we talk about user experience, right, all the wallets, payment methods we're using today, it took them almost 100 years to build, right? So we're still quite early.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, Lily, coming back to you, do you agree that we are still early? And I know that Kobo, you are one of the leaders in terms of custodial services, and you are also offering services related to zero-knowledge technology and multi-party computing. Can you tell us a bit more about these services?
So our last panel was about spot ETF. So before the launch of BTC Spot ETF, centralized exchange was actually the simplest way, easiest way for investors to interact with digital assets. But some of them got burned in the CeFi incidents 2 years ago. So in this cycle, what we've witnessed is investors at both retail and institutional side, they are more mature and sensitive about their private key management. And to respond to such demand, we also observed a lot of our centralized exchange and the CeFi asset management platform clients, they are starting to adopt MPC non-custodial solutions to allow their end users to control their own private key. So the MPC technology allows distributed private key management, and it can be leveraged to enhance the user experience and also the self-custody. So the custodies with this technology can provide the benefits of self-custody while still maintaining convenience, offering convenience and the other features of a custodial platform. So ZK is a technology that you are allowed to verify information without sharing the underlying data. So it can be leveraged for proof of reserves without sharing your confidential client data. And also all can be leveraged for L2 scaling solutions that can allows better, faster transactions clients, but still maintaining the same security of the underlying blockchain. So at Kobo, we are already integrating the MPC non-custodial wallets for our B2B2C clients, and our smart contract-based DeFi wallet already supports ZKP technology. So the technologies are still early, but as the technologies mature, I believe more and more custodial platforms will take advantage of them and offer advanced security, privacy, and usability to clients.
Super cool. And talking about wallets, Rita, and from your perspective, what are the technologies that you guys are dealing with to put out your wallet and your stablecoin? And I think we are running out of time, so.
I'll be quick. So we're running a fiat wallet right now, so it's not a crypto wallet. But on the stablecoin front, we're working with, we're starting with the Ethereum, but we're working with many other chains for the purpose of cheaper cost and faster speed, and also working with a different sort of custodial technology and like private key management technology for our stablecoin issuance. So that's what we're working on.
Super cool. Okay, to finish the panel, just a quick observation or thoughts from each one of you for the audience. Maybe can start with you, Lily.
Sure. So digital asset is a new asset class, and blockchain is a new financial infrastructure. But they are early, but they both promise a more accessible and open financial ecosystem. So I think for investors and industry players like us, we should commit more time and attention to the development of technology evolutions in this space. It deserves our more attention and time from us, to build a more scalable and interoperable financial system.
Awesome, Rita.
Yeah, so I look forward to the builders, the contributors, especially on this stage, trying to make the user experience better in Web3 and bridging the Web2 and Web3 world and make the cake bigger, drive the mass adoption to really make that happen in the next few years. And please watch out to the stablecoin we're issuing, hopefully soon. Watch out to our fiat wallet that services Web3 businesses. Check us out at rd.group. That's our website, and you can find us on Twitter. Thank you.
Yeah, Steven?
CA actually provide a basic fundamental infrastructure for companies like banking services. So whatever kind of business you are engaging in the Web3, like stablecoin, exchanges, custodian, feel free to reach us out and see how we can collaborate together and how we can support you in Hong Kong.
Sarah?
With the ETF being approved, we've seen a new layer of liquidity, the retails coming into the market. So customer structure has changed a lot. However, I know a lot of you guys are not full-time in Web3 yet, but with Hong Kong government being so supportive and regulations and licensing are all being progressed, I think it's a good time to get involved. We need more talents in Web3.
Amazing. So I think nothing to add on the infrastructure side. I think the other esteemed panelists cover it. From my side, I first came to Hong Kong and Asia about 7 months ago, and I never left. I love it here. I love how progressive and supportive the regulators are, and looking forward to working closely with you all for the coming years.
Amazing. We are running over a few minutes, but I hope we can pay the fine through Web3 infrastructure. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating. It was an amazing panel.
Thank you so much. Please give us a round of applause for our panelists and our moderator for today's panel. Thank you so much.